Alright, so now we're going to learn how to create the title screen for this example course on learning how to juggle. So this is the storyboard here that I created to help you along the way so you can follow along. So let's just look at it for a second before we go into Storyline and start creating this. So here I've laid out a screenshot of the course that I already created, so you can just see what this slide will look like. And this is going to be our base layer, so it's going to have the title, it's going to show our character, and it's going to show a little juggling animation. So I'm just going to read over here what I said for the media. So I used Storyline 3 Carmen character, but you can use any character you like as your avatar throughout this whole course. For the screen, make sure your character has her arms or his arms at a 90-degree angle and is facing front. Place your avatar in the middle of the screen and create 3 juggling balls of different colors. Your choice. So I chose yellow, green, and blue, so I'm going to show you that, how I did that. And here are the main programming considerations here. Use a linear animation path to create the text movement for learn how to and the word juggle. So this will slide in from the left, and the easy way text will slide in from the right. Use a zoom entrance animation for your avatar and for the juggling balls. So we're going to insert a short audio clip as well for some entrance music to start off your course, but we're going to do that later on. So this is the basic thing. And here I will, when I actually put this up there for you on Udemy, I'm going to link to this video that I'm creating right now, but right now I don't know what the video will be labeled, so that's why that is blank. All right, so let's go back to Storyline here. And let me just start here by inserting our character and our text. So let's insert a text box to begin with. So we have to keep flipping back and forth, or you can have it on the side. Learn how to juggle, and then the easy way, and those are separate. And then you can either insert another text box or you can just copy that one. Okay, let's just double check that. Learn how to juggle the easy way. So I had it all caps, but it doesn't really matter. You can have it however you like. And these are just examples. So we're going to just change this font. For the fonts, you can use what you like. I'll show you what I use to create this. So I'm going to go up to Home here and go to Fonts. I'm going to use this one right here for the first part, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger because it's too small. And I'm going to just stretch this out a bit. Okay, let's just move this over for a minute. And for this one, I'm going to use Roboto Black, I think. I think that's what I used before, just arbitrarily. So this one right here. And I'm also going to make that bigger, let's say around the same size. Let's see. And I'm going to spread that out. Okay, and just to give it some color, because it's not very colorful right now, I'm going to change, so if we look at the storyboard again, this juggle word is like a reddish color. And I have that as part of my, I think some of my default colors, but let's see if I still have that there. Yeah, so these are some of my colors. So I'm going to just change that to the red, and I'm going to bold it and put a shadow behind it. And let's just go check out that screenshot again. So that was more centered. So I'm going to center this as well. So I'll just go over here to center, learn how to juggle the easy way. And let's just go back one more time. All right, so I think we have the text pretty good. Let's just see how we want to place it. So there's always these guidelines that come up too that helps you place things on the screen, similar to PowerPoint. Just want to get that centered as best we can. I just want to make sure we're going to have space for the character, the avatar. So just going to bring this up a little bit. So you can do that by highlighting both, hitting Control on your keyboard as you click on both of them, and then you should be able to move it up. All right. So I'm going to leave it there for a minute. And then I'm going to insert my character. So you go to Insert, Character here. Now, like I said, you can pick whatever you'd like. There's lots to choose from. So you pick one that you want, and then be consistent throughout your course and keep to the same character. Now, you don't always have to do that, but I think it's nicer for this course because it's not very long. So I'm going to pick the same one I did before. And then you can change her expression. So you can have her be happy, talking, thinking. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can see here all the different things. So I'm going to just have her being happy, and the pose, I'm going to pick her hands are going to be out like this, like she's juggling. And then because she's way too tall right now, I'm going to just make her smaller and put her more or less in the center below the words right there. Okay, so before we get to some of the other things with the juggling balls here, I'm just going to show you what it's done down here in the timeline. So you can see when you insert these elements here, it shows you down here what you've just inserted. And that could be useful too if you want them to come at different times. There's different ways you can do it. You can either move these around on the screen here to have it like start at 2 seconds in, or you can use something called cue points, and we're going to get to that later. And I find that easier because if you do want to make changes, you can create cue points. They just show up along here and they trigger certain things to come in at certain times. And then if you want to change it, it's really easy. You just drag the cue point to a different spot. So we'll get to that later. So let's add some animation to this. So I want this to slide in. So let's just go back to the storyboard. So we want to use linear animation paths to create text movement. So these words learn how to and juggle slide in from the left. Okay, so we're going to go over here to animations, and we're going to add a motion path. So make sure you're clicked on the text learn how to juggle. And we're going to insert a line. So right now it's inserted it here. You can see it. It's vertical, but we can go over to path options and we can have it be from the left or from the right. This one's down, that one's up. So we're going to choose this, and then I'm going to just, oops, wrong one. If you make a mistake, just undo. So Control Z is undo, or you can hit this button. Sometimes when you go to grab something, it doesn't always take. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to just stretch that and hit Shift. That's another little trick. It'll help keep that straighter. I'm going to have it start out here. Oop. Okay, there we go. So we're going to have it start kind of off here and then come into here. Now this is a little bit of trial and error. It takes a little bit getting used to. So let's just go, and a great thing about Storyline is you can always go and preview every step of the way as you do it. So this preview button you're going to be using a lot. Okay, so preview or F12 is the shortcut key. Okay, so we can see that did not work the way I wanted. And that is because the green represents start and the red is end. So we're going that way, but we want to reverse that. So an easy way to do that is to just go reverse path direction. So let's just preview that again. Okay, there we go. So now it's going into the center, but it's not quite into the center. I think we need to stretch that a little bit. So go to close there and then stretch this a little bit this way. Because we want it to be more or less in the center here. Okay, so preview that. It's almost. I think I would dial that back a little bit. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. Now let's look at the easy way. So we want that to come in from the right. So let's go to animation, motion path, line, path options. We want it to go from the right this way, there. And then I'm going to extend that out so it's off the screen to begin with. Let's just preview that. Okay, almost. The easy way is going a little too far. Okay, let's preview that. I think that looks pretty good to me. So let's just go save this now. All right, so we have the learn how to juggle coming in from here, the easy way coming in from there. And then we have to deal with what to do with her. So if you go back to the storyboard, we're going to use a zoom entrance animation for the avatar, and then we're going to have her juggling balls. So I'll show you how to do that now. But before I show you how to do the animation for the avatar, put your focus over here on the right. So you'll be able to see that as we created these line motion path animations, Storyline has created some things over here on the right. So let's just look at these. So for text box 1, so you can relabel that too if you want. So, but if you click on it, you'll see which one it is. Learn how to juggle. Okay, text box 1. We're going to move it, learn how to juggle, on line motion path 1 when the timeline starts. So we do have this happening when this screen appears, so when the timeline starts. This is always how you edit a trigger. So you edit the selected trigger. So we could change that if we wanted to move the text box when, say, something else happens, like the user clicks on something or the timeline reaches a certain point. That's when we're going to get into using these cue points, but I'm going to get to that later. I'm just giving you a little heads up about it. So this is how those things get like altered, is using this trigger wizard, which we'll come back to later. So text box 2, you can see when text box 2, the easy way, it will move on line motion path 2 when the timeline starts, and that's the path that goes from the right into the center. So I just wanted to alert you to that. So now for the avatar here, we're going to go to the animations again, And we're going to have an entrance animation on her. So we're going to have her zoom in. So she's going to zoom in when the timeline starts. So let's go preview just what this is going to look like. There we go. All right, so it looks very similar to what I showed you in the beginning, our example. So let's go now add some juggling balls to her hands. So I'm going to go up to Insert here. I'm going to go to Shape, and I'm going to click on Oval. And I'm going to create 3 ball-like shapes here. Oops. Let's get that a little bit rounder. Okay, so that's a little bit big. I think we'll just make that a little smaller. Okay. All right, so there's one. Now I'm going to just duplicate this, and then I'll change the color. So we can just Control C, Control V, Control V. So I'll make 3. And I'm going to change the color. So the first one's going to be a yellow. So we go to Format here. So I'm going to start by making this one, this color right here. And then we'll change this one to this green. And I'll just take away that outline. And then this one will make a blue that I'd already determined before. That seemed to look good on screen, so it's this blue here. You can copy it if you want. There's the HTML code there. All right, so we got, oh, and then I'm going to take away that outline because I don't want an orange outline. Okay, so we got 3 balls here. I'm going to place this one here, this one here, and I'm going to bring this one in front. So to do that, you just go to the Format and you send, so we're clicking on the yellow one, you send it to the front. And this green one I'm going to put over here. I'm just going to move that back a little bit. Move this forward. All right. Okay, so this is labeled oval 1, 2, and 3, and you can see that down here. We can move that just so they're in the order. You can also rename these, but I've been leaving it just the same and just knowing which one is which just by clicking on it. You could say yellow, green, blue if that would help you. So I'm not going to do it for this example, but if you want to rename that, you can always go here and go to rename right here. But it'll still call it oval 1. It'll just say, and then quotation marks, yellow. So you could always do that if you want. So I'm going to add animation paths to these as well. So instead of using the straight paths, we're going to use arcs. And this is going to simulate it looking like she's juggling. So I've inserted one now, but it's the wrong way around. So I'm just going to drag this so it's in the right direction for the moment. But it's going from here to there. So we want to reverse the path. So it's going to start on this side and go to the other hand. And then I'm just going to bring that back. I know it's a little small to see, but we'll be doing a lot of these, so you'll see in the next time. So I'm just going to try to line that up with the ball here. Okay. And it's going to take some trial and error to do it, but once you do it a few times, it gets easier. So that ball is going to go over to this hand, and then we want the green one to do the opposite direction. So to go to animation, add an arc. I'm just going to change that, move that in. Move that up a bit. Oop. Undo that. Okay, and that's going from this hand to that hand. And then for the blue one, going the opposite way. So animation, arc, so let's just change that path before we get it over there so I know which direction. And then just move that over, line it up on the blue ball, and then move it over here. It doesn't have to be perfect, just approximately, because this is just an example to showcase what you can do with arc motion paths, and I'm using this juggling course example to show you. Okay, so we have all those going, so it looks like a bit of a mess, and it will at times on Storyline. That's why you need to preview. But you can always, over here, if you go to the timeline, you can always show or hide something. So if you want to just kind of look at one at a time to see what's happening as you preview, you can show or hide that element and then preview it, and then you'll be sure what's going on. Okay? So go over here to the triggers, and you can see here it says move oval 1. So that's our first one, the yellow. On arc motion path 1 when the timeline starts. Okay, we're gonna modify this a little bit, but I'm just gonna show you this for now. And then move oval 2 on arc motion path 2 when the timeline starts, and then oval 3 on arc motion path 3 when the timeline starts. So let's preview this. So right now, they're all going up in the air at the same time, and we don't really want that, but we're almost there. So that's why you insert cue points. So I'm going to go over here and just kind of, if you look down here, you can expand this just so you can see it better, the timeline. And I want this to look like, you know, as this starts, oval 1 goes up in the air first, then oval 2, and then oval 3, so in sequence. So I'm going to just, what you can do here is you can put your little cursor like that by left clicking with your mouse, and then hit the letter C, or right click and say create cue point at the playhead, so right here. So there's two ways to do it. I'm just going to use the letter C, and then I'm going to make another one. I'm going to click here, C, and then here, C. So that's not exactly where I want to have them. I'm just creating them right now, and then we can move these along wherever we need to make this look like she's juggling the balls. So we're going to move these cue points, and I found what worked best for this is to have this at 0.5 seconds. The second one come in at 1 second. And then the third one here, whoops. Third one here come in at 1.5 seconds. Okay, so then we have to go over to these triggers. Now this is going to be the first time we're going to edit these. So oval 1, we don't want it to start when the timeline starts. So go up to this little pencil here. So click on the oval 1, go to edit. We're going to move this ball, oval 1, on arc motion path 1, but not when the timeline starts. We want to go down here to when the timeline reaches. Now we could set a time, or you can just use these cue points because it's easier to move them around. Cue point number 1, 0.5 seconds. Okay. And then oval 2, go up to edit. We're going to move oval 2 on arc motion path 2 when the timeline reaches cue point number 2. And then oval 3, we're going to edit that. So that's going to be when the timeline reaches cue point number 3. All right, so let's preview that and see what it looks like. Okay, I think we're almost there. The only thing I want to change, okay, so that worked for this, is we don't really want the balls to be there before everything else gets there. So we should have them come in as well with the avatar. So we'll just set zoom animations on the balls as well for entrance animations. So we'll have them zoom. Zoom. And zoom. So let's preview that. And there we go. So we can also replay that if you're not sure. Okay, there's maybe a few little things I would tweak there, but we can always come back when we're cleaning these slides up and we can do some of those fine tuning. But we got the main thing right now. We have the title coming in, she's zooming in, and we have the arc motion paths on the balls. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much for the title screen. And like I said, we'll come back and later we're going to add some audio to this and some maybe just a slide transition. Maybe we'll tidy up these movements.